Your systems are the nervous system of your soul. Discipleship installs systems that scale power, not chaos. The link is in the description below. So you have to understand that if you're operating from a place of instinct, that's good. But realistically, you want to start to systemize your life so you can start to predict what happens when your body starts to give you signals. If we know that your nervous system is kind of the motherboard of your body, then that means when it's telling you something, if you're working off of instinct, you're working off of potential patterns that you can recognize. But what happens when the patterns can't be recognized that easily, right? Or you're going up against something that you start to get confused about because you don't have a system to actually indicate what's truly happening. So you have to start to implement systems on the inside, right? At this rate, you're probably doing well in business. You're doing well in terms of your networking and your systems inside of the structure that you've built to cash flow in business, but you don't do the same thing within your internal structure to understand what's happening around you. Therefore, you have these subconscious things that continue to keep you in psychological loops. And when the nervous system is signaling you to get out of that loop and the opportunity to get out, you run from it because what? You don't have a system to accurately coin, okay, cool, that's good for me, I need to go that way, even if it feels very uncomfortable. The stress system correlation. Stress is architectural, not merely emotions. Every time you get overwhelmed, it reveals systematic inefficiencies. You're not overloaded, you're under-organized. Chaos is expensive, order compounds. High performers mistake activity for achievement. You have to realize that your life is already busy. I get it. My life is busy too. High performers, we have a life of business. We have a life of relationships. We have a life of family. We have a life of fatherhood. We have a life of fighting. We have a life of all of this other shit. So your day is always going to be busy to a degree. So in this busyness, if you don't have a system within your internal, you're always going to then have something to do that covers or pushes your activity of working on yourself to the back burner. So you have to take a second and say, okay, cool. If I know that I have this overwhelmed feeling, and the only thing that gets me away from it is by staying productive and busy, because that's what we tend to do, is run away from self and just surround it with family, business, money, opportunities, conversations, X, Y, Z. If you continue to do that, that's just causing systematic inefficiencies within your life, which then, again, perpetuates the problem over and over and over. So then what you have to do is now sit down and say, okay, where can I be more organized that I'm not internally? Am I running from conflict with myself? Am I running from the next upgrade in my life because it's going to strip me from what I have right now? Am I getting comfortable at the plateau that I'm sitting on? And all of these questions will force you into a place of stress because you're going to realize that you're mistaking activity for achievement when realistically you're running in a fucking psychological loop of running from confrontation or whatever the problem is within your internals that you need to start to systemize and take a look at. That's the Achilles heel of high performers. Just like you, I'm the same way, right? There are times where I have to actually sit down and say, what's in front of me that I'm avoiding purposely? What is it? Because we all have it. Just because I'm teaching you psychological loops, you don't think that there's psychological loops that I have to analyze every single day to make sure that I'm not following or going back into one? Of course. And all of this is an energetic signal onto the field of if you're ready to expand and go forward up the hill or the mountain and get off this plateau. Because the current plateau that you're on has a level of chaos that you've been running from. I know. I've been there too, bro. So think, now it's the systems that create spiritual scalability. Well-designed systems conserve psychic energy. Chaos consumes energy, systems channel it. A man with clean systems commands more power with less effort. Sacred principle. Simplicity equals sovereignty. Complexity is intellectual immaturity. You sit there and you have mental masturbation with yourself based upon this chaos that's consuming you. And so you're giving all this energy to this mental masturbation, and sometimes you allow the mental masturbation to happen, but it's happening in the subconscious. And so then you run to these next activities, like I said before, to keep you away. You keep it at bay. And what does that do? You acknowledge the fact that there's a problem. You and I both know that we have, as high performers, problems that pop up internally all the time, but we try to run from it instead of dealing with it on the spot. When realistically, you just need 10 to 30 minutes to actually analyze what your body's telling you. And so now is the time to actually sit and say, if I systemize my ability to not only acknowledge the chaos, and acknowledge the energy I'm giving to it, but also acknowledge the fact that maybe if I channel it into a different area of my life, that I can now systemize it in a way that it's no longer draining me. I no longer feel exhausted at 2 p.m. I no longer have to run to caffeine. I no longer need to run to sedate myself from all of the overthinking that I do based upon this internal issue that I'm dealing with, that I'm not handling. All right? And make it real simple, bro. You can sit down and have a mocktail at a bar, right? Look out at a skyline, look out at the views. Hell, if you're by yourself, just chill out. If there's no skyline or view, just sit there, drink your mocktail, and self-analyze. Maybe you need 10 to 30 minutes a day by yourself in that setting. I know for myself, I like to be around the feminine energy. So if I'm getting in a place where it's like, yep, I need to test my systems, and I also, or not systems, I need to test my structure, but I also need to refine my mind. I like to be around the feminine energy of women, right? Because what does that do? It reminds me to keep my structure intact while I am breaking myself down psychologically. And it also gives you the opportunity to witness other human beings that sometimes we try to avoid. And that in itself, when we do our self-isolation, causes a problem as well. Because what? We like community, but we understand that in this community, frequencies are being exchanged. If you isolate yourself in a public setting and you make sure that, okay, cool, over there in the distance, I see the feminine, so I'm working on my structure there. The feminine sees you. They're probably going to approach you as well, right? You can test multiple things at once. So it's all dependent on what works best for you, but make it simple. Because sovereignty, like I said a second ago, is very simple. And so the 3 system categories: temporal systems, mastering time and repetition; financial systems, converting flow into sustainable wealth; and creative systems, reproducing impact at scale. Integration of all 3 create holistic sovereignty. Each system should feed the other. So if we take mastering time and repetition, we have a set schedule. We have a structure that we follow, very disciplined, right? Continue to act on that every single day, no matter what, right? So that means that your time is very valuable and you don't play with that. That means setting your boundaries around your time, no matter how free, how many opportunities come around. Do these opportunities align with the goal ahead of me? And you should be repeating this on a day-to-day basis. Converting cash flow into sustainable wealth. Are we taking the money that we make in our business and making sure that it grants us more time and money? That as simple as that. And you can also then align it to the goal. Does the way in which that I'm making money and giving myself more time align me with the goal more or less, right? What does that look like? Am I throwing money towards things that I have no clue if it's going to return to help me with the goal? Or am I investing over here that will give me a direct cash flow line back, but also give me the ability to see my goal a bit more clear? Creative systems. Are you producing impact at scale? Are you documenting your life as it's happening in front of you? Are you dealing with your life in a way that you understand, okay, cool, I'm doing this, but I'm filming it because not only is it giving me exposure, it's giving the idea and the centralized goal that I'm going after exposure that may help other people simply by making a YouTube video, recording things for Instagram or TikTok, putting things on Facebook. Pick your two platforms to post on, right? And go at it every single day. You should be documenting your life, not necessarily only to scale, but also when you get older and you look back at the challenging hurdles that were in front of you, right? You'll have the ability to give yourself grace when you're in front of another hurdle because you remember what it took to get over this one. It'll give you insights to things that you may need in front of the next hurdle that's in front of you current day. So documenting your life is not only for the external and the goal, but it's also for yourself to understand yourself a bit better, even down the line. Right? There are times where I read the books that I've written in and it's giving me clarity on a current problem. And I've written the fucking problem or the solution I was going through however many years ago. Right? So you got to document your life. And so when you're having each one of these systems feed each other is when you start to actually not only feel fulfilled, but then the goal that you're looking to get after starts to seem 10 times more achievable. And if it's not that it's achievable in your lifetime, it gives you a bigger foundation to hand off to your children or your heirs that will then take on the same duty and goal for their life. Right? You got to think legacy when it comes to this. Your goal should be bigger than something that you can complete in this lifetime. right? And it should expand you. It should stretch you. So let it, right? Let it stretch you. Let it pull you. And so your closing decree: structure is spiritual technology. Systems are sacred architecture. Consider yourself warned.